and welcome back to the program as we continue on in our coverage of the 2012 Mohawk Council of Kahnawake elections. And in studio right now with us is Clinton Phillips. How are you doing?
Hi, Regan. I'm doing great, thanks.
So tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, I guess for those who do not know me, my parents are Kenneth Phillips. He's the son of Charlotte and John Boisonneau Phillips. My mother is Teresa LeClaire Phillips. She's the daughter of Evelyn and Angus LeClaire. I've been in Kahnawake my whole life, except for the time I went away to school. I've been employed at the Cattery Hospital for close to 30 years. Before I got on council, and before that, my only other job I had was working at the Kahnawake Youth Center for, I believe it was 3 consecutive summers when I was like 14, 15, and 16. So if you look at what I've done in terms of my career, I've worked for every aspect of the community, from the youth to our elders, and now the entire community in general. So it's pretty much community-based ideas, I guess, that I have.
Right. And this was your first term on council for 3 consecutive years. In your opinion, how did that go, and what are some of the things that you worked on? Well,
I guess it went well, and some of the things that I've been working on happen to be environment. I guess before I get into that, I need to say that, as you know, I got my seat via the by-election that happened in September of 2009. And so when I got in, portfolios had just been distributed, and I guess maybe what was left was, what was not deemed, the most desirable, or the ones that people didn't want to have.
High profile.
And so whatever was there, I took. And so I didn't have a chance to select or, and choose what I thought I'd be best at. It was whatever was there. Work is work. I don't care what I'm working on. So what I did have, from the get-go was environment. I placed myself on the scenery of Sault Ste. Louis, although there are several council chiefs, and the Grand Chief is the lead on that. But I had said that I had the time to sit on that table. It's a large table. And to learn negotiation. I'm not going to learn that sitting in the office or reading it from a book. So I placed myself on that. The environment portfolio is a large portfolio, and it includes Jorodu. So I'm big at the Jorodu table. There's a lot of issues that pertain to Jorodu that are environmental. You can't talk about Jorodu or St. Lucie and not think of the environment. It's hand in hand. And I think for the most part, we've heard from the community, everyone that either goes there, has been there, or wants to build something up there, everybody's of the same mind that they want to keep that in a pristine condition, as pristine as we can keep it. I mean, to go to Jorodu should still be deemed a privilege and not a right. And so it's up to everyone to play their part in ensuring that the environment of Jorodu and the condition of the lakes and the rivers and the streams are as clean as possible. So that's something I've been working on a lot. More recently, I guess the issue of the St. Lawrence Seaway, the Turtle Bay Elders, Turtle Bay area, and down to Onage. I mean, all you have to do is take a drive down there and see the condition in the state that's in.
Yes,
it's alarming.
Bad, yes.
It's alarming. Just to let the community know that last week we had a meeting with the Seaway Authority and the environment people, mainly Eva and Holly at the environment office. And the meeting went well. It was the first of many meetings. That situation didn't just happen overnight, so it's not going to be a resolve, tomorrow. But we are working on it. We are equally concerned as everybody else is. There's certain things that we just can't control, like the flow of water that's being held upstream by, dams and hydro and everybody else. So there's not much we can do in that term. But, certainly we're looking at getting that whole area cleaned up. One way or the other, somebody's got to help us, and somebody will be responsible.
Right. I mean, if you do, it is alarming, you're right. And some people will say, well, you know what? This seaway runs right through Kahnawake. We should have some say in the flow of water and what's given to us. And here they are talking about Seaway Expansion and more transportation. And we're right in the middle of all of this.
Well, and that's the history of what's happened to our people. We always get the raw end of the deal here, and it's like enough is enough. We're not going to stand for it anymore, and we're going to be doing stuff to ensure that our concerns and our issues are paramount to people out there.
How do you think your experiences in your professional career transcends into your position as a chief on council?
Well, I guess, dealing with the people in Ganawage, and I'll go back to when I started, like I said, when I was a child working at the youth center, dealing with the youth. It was then that I realized, this is what I want to do. This is something that I think, I was born to do. Help, lead, anything to do with our people and advancing our people. I know it's hard to imagine like a kid of 14 years old thinking that far in advance, but I think that was the foundation of me and my desires and my wants. Once I left for college and when I did come back 2 years later, I almost immediately started working at Cattery Hospital, and I stayed there for, I think it was 22 years in the nursing department, taking care of our elders, physically hands-on taking care of them. And after that, I ended up moving into, middle management at the hospital. I was in charge of all the cleanliness of the building, janitors, housekeepers, laundry personnel, infection control. These people are the backbone of the hospital. They really are. They're not doing that job for the wage. They're doing it, and they're doing a fantastic job, and it's backbreaking work. So I commend the people every time I have the opportunity to do so. The knowledge that I've gained and the experiences I gained from within the hospital, and actually caring about people and caring about the quality of their life, in terms of what they were living in the institution, just made me want to look at further, developing that skill that I believe I acquired from the hospital. I started putting myself on boards and committees, boards of directors in the community, and kind of really spreading myself pretty thin. But it was to gain the knowledge, like corporate structure,
Right.
how to go about doing things, how to treat people, how to be professional, to know the difference between confidentiality and just having a darn big mouth and leaking things. So I'm aware of all this stuff. I live it, I breathe it, and I believe in it.
Well, at this point, you had mentioned earlier about when you had come on. It was during the by-election, and you had taken the portfolios that were there. What area of politics are you interested in, and what would you like to work on?
Well, I guess as you know, John D. Delormier, former Chief John D. Delormier left, I think it was in the month of May,
Right.
To pursue his peacekeeping
Career.
aspiration. And I took the lands portfolio, and that's really something that I've embraced, and I'm really happy to have that portfolio, and it's really opening my eyes because, like I said, I like to think of myself as an environmentalist, not professionally, but I do believe that. And again, you can't think of environment without thinking lands, and there's so many issues in our community that pertain to lands. Just about Ganawage is about land, about who we are, about our culture, about as a people, how we move forward in the future. But we need land, And last month we were at the Iroquois Caucus, and I did a presentation to the House Standing Committee in Parliament in regards to the issues that Ganawage faces on a daily basis in regards to lands, whether it be land transfers, the ATR process, which is an extremely outdated, lengthy process that the government has out there for us, where we may have to wait 5 to 10 years to actually start utilizing the land that is rightfully ours, land that we never gave up, land that we never sold, and that's their process. So that was part of my presentation to the Standing Committee, that we should be able to use these lands immediately for economic development. If their paperwork is going to drag on for 10 years, doesn't mean we have to have come to a complete halt and wait for that that paperwork. I don't believe that. Council doesn't believe that. So that's the fight that I had in Ottawa last month. So lands is very important. The environment's very important to me. I'm looking at issues like a real issue today in Ganawage is the MRI law. It started off as MRP, matrimonial real property. Now it's MRI, the I's interest. So we are developing our own Ganawage law. Luckily, through the Iroquois Caucus, and I'm part of the Iroquois Caucus. We meet every second month with 6 other Iroquois communities. Six Nations has developed their own MRI law, and the government is going to accept that as what Six Nations can use. So Six Nations has allowed all the communities of the caucus to use their law as a template.
Really?
As a template. So all we have to do is tweak it and make it Ganawage specific. Yeah. And that's what we're going to be doing over the next few months. It's very time sensitive. We have to move on this. We have to ensure that we do have a place, a law in place. And Canada has already informed all of us, all the Native communities across the country, that as long as you have a law in place, they will not trump it or veto it. Mm-hmm. So as long as there's something in place, they're good with that. Mm-hmm. So that's I think that's one of the hot and key issues in Ganawage today. I'll go back to the Bay Area. I can't stress enough how much the environment issues are first and foremost in my mind, and what I'd like to work on for the next 3 years. And the land issues, the dump sites that we have in the community. Yeah. We have 6 designated dump sites. Well, not designated, but these dump sites were, put on us likely in the late 60s, early 70s, under the careful, watchful eye of Indian Affairs.
Right.
So my whole spiel is that Indian Affairs was watching over this, and Indian Affairs is going to be responsible to help pay for this issue of cleaning it up. There's so many studies out there. I recall a study that was done, I believe, by McGill University in regards to the environment. They did a study on the Dicari Expressway, and they did research over, I think, a 2-year period or 3-year period, and it was about cancers and the high rate of cancers, especially female cancers, living directly along that highway, the Dicari Expressway. So, if you look at our Ganawage, no matter where you look, we have, tens of thousands of vehicles daily, in the morning, in the evening, coming through our reserve.
Yes.
We got steamships going through, spewing whatever into our waters, blowing black smoke into our air. We got planes flying overhead. We got rails coming through. Every place you look, our rights, our quality of life is being infringed on, not by us, by these people. So we need to look, it's a proven medical fact that cancer is probably due to 2 factors, and alarmingly, we have high rates of cancer in our community.
We do, and people have made this, issue. They've debated this issue too, the things that you're mentioning right now, and have wondered, is there any connection to certain things in the environment?
Well, there's medical studies that prove that, cancer is caused by 2 things, likely 2 things. Genetics, which is who you are, who we are, what you get from your mother and father, genes. There's nothing we can do about that. The second theory is the environment. That we can do something about. So that's what I'd like to work on in the future. It's not like I'm trying to promote that I'm going to come up with a cure for cancer. That's not what I'm saying.
I understand what you're saying.
But we need to look and get a grip on what's happening in and around our community in terms of environment, because our environment is everything. Again, it boils down to lands and environment hand in hand.
Okay. Well, Clinton, time flies. Is there anything else you would like to add or say to the community before we wrap up?
I guess I'd like to thank the community for the last 3 years for having faith in me, having faith in my abilities, and seeing what I have to offer. And I think I have a lot more to offer the community. I've never been afraid to have a fight. I have no problem with, giving a punch when I have to give a punch, especially in Ottawa, and I've done it. Ask my colleagues. I've already done it several times to the politicians in Ottawa. So that's not something I'm afraid of. I have the gumption. I have the dedication. I have the passion, and I think once you lose that passion, then it's no longer, it's just not there. When the fire's gone, it's time to move on. So I want the community to know that I still have the passion, I still have the fire, I still have the dedication, and I still have the insight of just exactly who I work for. I work for the people of Ganawage, and I'd like to continue.
Okay. Well, thank you very much for coming in studio today.
Thank you,
It's been very interesting, and good luck on July 7th.
Yeah.
Okay. So that about wraps up our show. We hope you enjoyed the program of the 2012 elections. Over the next couple of weeks, as we head into the voting day, of course, you're going to be seeing a lot more programming surrounding the elections, and we hope you enjoyed it. If you have any comments or questions, don't be afraid to contact us at 450-632-NEWS at 632-6397, or send us an email at mohawktv@hotmail.com. So now we'll go for staying with us. Tano onagi wahi.